Good evening. Welcome back to Hellhound's late night spook show here on the Horror and Metal channel. I'm Hellhound, and I got lots of new stuff recently, a lot of Blu-rays, so I'm going to go ahead and do another Loathsome lore video. It's been a while since I've done one of those, so let's go and take a look at what I got. Yeah, mostly Blu-rays, only one DVD. So a ton of movies. So this will be Hellhound's Loathsome Lore episode 33. The last episode we looked at CDs, and the one before that we looked at action figures. So this one's going to be all about mostly Blu-rays. Alright, so yeah, like I said, the only DVD I got is this double feature of Sorority House Massacre 1 and 2. It's pretty hard to find. I don't think these are on Blu-ray yet, not that I know of anyway. So I figured, why not? I have them to my collection. I've got, all three of the Slumber Party Massacre movies, so screw it, why not? These movies are really bad. Yeah, they're really, really stupid. Yeah, they're very bad, even if you compare them to the Slumber Party Massacre films, but they're fun, just really brainless, really cheap, schlocky entertainment, much like the Slumber Party Massacre movies. They're not connected to each other. Sorority House Massacre 2 isn't really a sequel at all. And it even features footage, flashbacks to Slumber Party Massacre, the first movie, with Michael Villela as Russ Thorne, even though they don't call him Russ Thorne in this stock footage. They call him Hockstetter or something. So he was the killer, and then so it's connected to it's not connected to the first movie. It's actually loosely connected to Slumber Party Massacre with the names changed. I think it has a few more of the maybe one of the two of the other cast members that were involved with those films. I don't know. But like I said, these movies are really, really stupid. You have to be in a certain mood for them. If you just want to turn your brain off and have a way to kill a couple hours, let's say check them out. But know that, you're obviously not going to be blown away. They're nothing compared to something like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street. Just really, really stupid, really dumb, fun movies. That great cheesy 80s feel. So yeah, that's the only Blu-ray I got. That's the only DVD I got. Now onto the Blu-rays. Getting tongue-tied already. Video's 93 minutes in. Alright, so first Blu-ray I got is Just Before Dawn. I've been wanting this one for a while. Pretty good 80s slasher. I guess it's kind of similar to stuff like Sleepaway Camp and stuff. It's a bunch of vacationing campers, planning on drinking and frolicking and skinny dipping in an isolated piece of land that one of them inherited. They get warned. I think there's actually a character that's very similar to Crazy Ralph in this movie. And this came out like the same year as Friday the 13th Part 2, I believe. So it's pretty funny. There's a killer on the loose. There's a body count, and people fall victim one by one. Pretty cool, pretty good movie. It had been a long time since I've seen it, so I recently rewatched it upon obtaining the Blu-ray. I forgot all about the twist at the end, which I won't give away. I won't spoil it, but let's just say I didn't see it coming because, like I said, I forgot about it completely. But pretty good movie. I definitely suggest you check it out if you're into 80s slashers like I am. Just Before Dawn. Alright, next we have The Final Terror, which also involves a group of campers. A group of young campers spending their weekend with hope will be a fun-filled vacation, but unfortunately a disguised merciless killer shows up and begins stalking them one by one. This one also has kind of a twist involving the killer, and it's kind of weird. It's kind of a different kind of movie. It's not really, you think it's just like really similar to stuff like Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp, but it's actually a lot different. There's like, a lot of like twists and turns that you might not see coming. Yeah, this also comes with a DVD. Has a pretty good cast. Daryl Hannah is in it. He should be going to become a big star, of course. And yeah, Mark Metcalf and Rachel Ward, Joe Pantoliano. Star-studded. But yeah, it's it's kind of dumb, but pretty fun. Some pretty good kills. And I like how the campers try to defend themselves from the ensuing bloodshed. So they don't want to become victims, so they fight back a little bit. Especially when they find that there's been various traps been set up by the killer or killers. Yeah, Final Terror. Check it out. All right, next is another movie I've been wanting for a very long time. He Knows You're Alone. Now, I remember a long time ago, several decades ago, I was at a friend's house, and we're talking about scary movies. I was really into them already, and his mom was talking about He Knows You're Alone. She said, "Oh, yeah, that was the scariest movie ever," and I was just fascinated. So, of course, I had to go rush out and see it, which I did. And yeah, it'd been a while since I've seen it, but I got on Blu-ray, rewatched it, and yeah, it's pretty good. I don't really find it very scary anymore, of course, but yeah, basically it's a killer who kills women on their wedding night. I guess he hates marriage or something. They do reveal his motivation, and they actually reveal his identity pretty early on. You know who he is throughout, even though he's pretty creepy and silent, and and doesn't really have any dialogue, if any at all. But yeah, it's standard slasher flick territory. But Tom Hanks actually has an early appearance in this movie, which a lot of people seem to forget about. Yeah, yeah, one of Tom Hanks' first movies. He's not in it a whole lot, but yeah, pretty twisted tale about a sicko who kills brides-to-be with a detective and some others who are on his case and trying to stop all the carnage. So yeah, He Knows You're Alone. Pretty creepy, suspenseful flick. And it still holds up pretty well, I'd say. I like it a lot. All right, next we have Christmas Evil. Yeah, everybody knows about Silent Night, Deadly Night, but a lot of people forget that there was another Killer Santa movie that came out 4 years previous. Yeah, this was in 1980, so this came out before Silent Night, Deadly Night. This isn't really much of a slasher film, though. It's more of a more of a psychological, dramatic character study. This time, Harry, who was a boy, he didn't see his parents killed by Santa like Billy did in Silent Night, Deadly Night. He actually saw his parents. He idolized Santa, by the way. He was obsessed with Christmas, and he saw Santa and his mother, getting dirty, doing something naughty, and it turns out, I guess it was just his father in a Santa Claus costume. So years later, Harry's still kind of traumatized by this event, and his older brother, or younger brother, actually, I think, is trying to, just trying to tell him, hey, Santa's not real, and it was just our father, blah blah blah. You're too old for this. So cut the crap. But yeah, basically he brings it upon himself to actually become Santa. So he dresses in a Santa Claus suit and brings presents to all the good boys and girls, but kills off people who he deems unworthy and, naughty. So it is kind of similar to Silent Night, Deadly Night, but this one I think is even more serious and kind of a, like I said, not really much of a straightforward horror movie that you'd think. He doesn't just go on a killing spree and that's it. There's not like a very high body count. But there's some pretty brutal kills here and there, especially the stabbing through the eye, and a few more like that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'd say definitely check it out. Yeah, this Blu-ray's loaded with special features, interviews and commentaries and stuff. There's actually a commentary with the director, Lewis Jackson, and John Waters at the same time, which is cool. And one with actor Brandon Maggard, who plays Harry, the killer Santa. He's Fiona Apple's father, too. There's some deleted scenes, some screen tests, some storyboards, and some comment cards, which is interesting, because if you watch all of them, the last one says, if you made it this far, contact Vinegar Syndrome, who distributed this Blu-ray, and you'll get something cool. Which I did, and I said, hey, yeah, I bought Christmas Evil, and I saw that message, and they said, oh, sorry, that promotion ended years ago. Hope you enjoyed Christmas Evil. I was like, oh, well, thanks, But yeah, I do enjoy this movie. It's pretty good. I don't like it nearly as much as Silent Night, Deadly Night, but as far as Killer Santa movies go, it's decent. You know, I do like the character of Harry. I think the acting's pretty good, and as well as the directing. But speaking of Christmas horror and Killer Santas, there's also To All a Good Night, which also predated Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, you know, a lot of people think that was the first Killer Santa movie. Not even. And of course, before that, in 1972, there was the Tales from the Crypt movie adaptation, which adapted the And All Through the House segment from the Vault of Horror comic book, which also had a Killer Santa. And that was also adapted in the TV show. But anyway, yeah, there's a Killer Santa here, too. The cover art really doesn't do it justice. Yeah, basically it's a it's a finishing school, a bunch of female boarders. Yeah, it's Christmas, and yeah, they drug their house mother, and their boyfriends arrive, and they try to have a fun-filled, promiscuous afternoon frolic. But it turns into a blood-soaked nightmare when a killer or killers in a Santa Claus suit shows up and decides to spread their own holiday cheer. Yeah, there's a really weird, kind of half-assed, tacked-on backstory at the beginning, and I feel like it wasn't really... It gave the killer kind of a weird motivation. It's very similar to Friday the 13th. Without giving too much away, you'll probably know what I mean right away, and I figured that's the route the movie was going as soon as I saw that opening scene. But yeah, it's a little far-fetched, but especially when they reveal the killer's identity and motivations. But yeah, it's decent. You know, it's not as good as Christmas Evil. You know, it's certainly not as good as Silent Night, Deadly Night. But it's pretty cool to just watch all these Killer Santa movies, just see how they compare with one another. Yeah, some decent kills. You know, it's much more of a standard generic slasher movie than Christmas Evil, which I think offers something a little more with the characters and whatnot. But yeah, it's got a decent cult following. It's directed by David Hess, who of course was Krug in Wes Craven's Last House on the Left. So pretty cool to see Krug himself direct a horror movie. He was also in House on the Edge of the Park, playing a very similar character. So this is one of the only movies he directed, if I'm not mistaken. And he might have had something to do with the soundtrack as well, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, it stars Jennifer Runyon, who of course was also in Ghostbusters and a few others. But yeah, To All a Good Night. As Killer Santa movies go, yeah, like I said, I don't like it quite as much as Christmas Evil, and definitely not Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it's decent, you know, it's got its moments. It is definitely a bad movie, but I think it's enjoyably bad for the most part. I'd say it's worth checking out at least once, you know. Speaking of holiday horror, there's also Bloody New Year, which takes place on New Year's. Sort of. It's actually in the middle of summer, but yeah, it's a British horror movie, and these friends discover this hotel, which seems to be stuck in the late 50s, and there's Christmas and New Year's decorations up, despite it being, well, like I said, the middle of summer. Yeah, they decided to take shelter, and so you'd think this would be a slasher movie, but it's actually a supernatural horror. It does have the feel and tone of a slasher movie, and some elements of that type of thing, but it's actually... Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like Night of the Demons meets something like Sorority Babes and the Slaughterhouse Bolorama, but not nearly as fun. Yeah, it's actually pretty serious, and it's not all that entertaining. In fact, a lot of it's kind of boring. I still recommend you watch it at least once, but if I remembered enough about this, it'd been years since I've seen it, I might not have bought it, because like I said, a lot of it was kind of forgettable. Vinegar Syndrome did do a good job on this Blu-ray. Which of course has the double-sided cover you can switch out. I prefer this classic VHS artwork, which is, you know, when I rented this movie several years ago, it looked like this, so I switched it to that. Some decent makeup effects and acting, but overall, it is kind of forgettable, but like I said, I'd say it's worth checking out at least once. Yeah, Bloody New Year. For a much better horror movie that takes place on New Year's, check out New Year's Evil and especially Terror Train. Both of those do it way better than this one does, but it's alright. I kind of like it for what it is. Alright, next we have yet another holiday horror. This is Hakko Lantern, a Halloween horror movie. I actually had a lot of fun with this one. It's very low, has a very low rating on most websites, but I thought it was pretty fun. I like the characters, you know. Yeah, High Pike stars as the grandfather of Tommy, who discovers that his grandpa is actually involved in a satanic cult, filled with performing all kinds of demonic, evil rituals and involving witchcraft and all that. So yeah, Tommy discovers this when he's just a young boy, and his grandfather actually kills his father. Then several years later, when Tommy's like 18 years old, a maniac in a wearing a black cloak and a devilish mask begins killing people, mostly with a pitchfork. And we have to find out who it is. Is it Tommy? Is it the grandpa? Is it somebody else? Somebody more sinister. I think this movie's really fun. It's very, very stupid, but I think it's pretty amusing. To say it's definitely worth checking out. I love horror movies with a Halloween setting, and especially ones with a great soundtrack. These movies are really rocking tunes. I really love that music video segment towards the middle, which kind of comes out of nowhere, but I love it for that. I think it's that's a very enjoyable scene. It's a really cool song too. I really like the actor who plays Tommy. Very sleazy, very low quality, but it's got like an elements of a slasher movie, supernatural horror, and giallo as well. Massacre Video, which released this Blu-ray, did a pretty good job. I recommend it. When it comes to Halloween horror, obviously it's not as good as, say, Trick or Treat, Night of the Demons, or of course Halloween or Hell Night, but pretty good. I'd say check it out. All right, now we're getting to some better stuff. I finally have Phenomena, one of Dario Argento's best movies. I previously had this on VHS under the Americanized title Creepers with the censored English cut. Now I finally have the full uncensored Italian version of the movie on this awesome Blu-ray, which was released by Synapse Films. It's not quite as good as, say, Suspiria, but it's really, really good nonetheless. Of course, Jennifer Connelly stars as a young woman who can communicate with insects, and there's a killer on the loose, brutally murdering students at the Academy for Girls, which she's attending, and she uses her ability to communicate with the insects to try to get to the bottom of it. She also befriends a doctor played by the great Donald Pleasance, and enlists his help to locate the murderer who's on the loose, and she finds herself in a bizarre murder plot. Some really surreal scenes of maggots and mutants and razor-wielding chimpanzees. It's actually pretty tame. It's not like really, really gory or gruesome, but it definitely has its moments of definitely has some creepy scenes and some pretty shocking moments as well. This Blu-ray also features the English version, the Americanized Creepers cut of the movie. I'm really happy to upgrade and have this version. I love Italian horror, and this movie's no exception. Dario Argento was a genius, and this movie's a testament to his awesome legacy. It's just loaded with special features. They always do a great job. I think there's something else I was going to say about this, but I forgot what it was. Jennifer Connelly, Donald Pleasance. Great soundtrack. Of course, Goblin, that did the soundtrack of a lot of Italian horror films, and also Motorhead and Iron Maiden. It's got Flash of the Blade on it for the Power Slave album, my favorite Maiden album. Really cool to hear that song here, and I think they play it twice. Phenomena, great movie. Speaking of Italian horror and Dario Argento, we also have another Argento film, Inferno, the second in the Mother of Tears, the Three Mothers trilogy, starting with Suspiria, then continuing with this film and concluding with Mother of Tears. This is a follow-up. Suspiria, of course, involved Mater Suspiriorum, sorry, getting tongue-tied. And this one involves Mater Tenebrarum. So a lot of people think Tenebrae is involved in the Three Mothers, but that's actually not. People get confused. Great movie. Not quite as good as Suspiria, but still pretty good, involving witchcraft and she this woman who stumbles on a diary that reveals the secrets of the Three Mothers. The one in Suspiria, the one in this one, and of course the one in Mother of Tears, and who briefly makes an appearance in this one. The mother Mater Lacrimarum, I think her name is. Yeah. So yeah, one of them's in Rome, one of them's in New York City, and so on. Yeah, the horror. This one's mostly in New York City, and some scenes in Rome too. You know, they're trying to stop this unholy trinity before they submerge the world into chaos. Yeah, it's visually stunning. Lots of beautiful lighting and colors, like most Dario Argento films. Yeah, really, really good stuff. So, but I'm gonna say my full thoughts for when I review this movie on my channel. I need to review this and Suspiria very soon because they're great. Dario Argento is my favorite Italian horror director, and this movie is yet another masterpiece, just like Phenomena. The man can do no wrong, in my opinion, except for some of his recent stuff. They're not too good, but these movies are friggin' awesome. Check them out. Next, we have yet another Italian horror movie, Torso, directed by Sergio Martino. Yeah, this is a very brutal, very sadistic, very mean-spirited, very cruel movie. Don't watch this one if you're easily offended. Yeah. Yeah, enter if you dare, the bizarre world of the psychosexual mind. Yeah, pretty much every man in this movie is a sleazy scumbag, and we have no idea who the killer could be. It could be any of these sick, twisted individuals, because all these men are just like ogling these young girls. Yeah, there's a series of sexual murders at a college campus, and yeah, these 4 girlfriends that head for the safety of a isolated country villa. But their weekend of pleasure becomes a vacation to dismember at the hands and blade of the lecherous maniac. Yeah, pretty hardcore stuff. Yeah, this came out in 1973. This is one of Eli Roth's favorite movies, and he actually has an introduction on this as a special feature on this Blu-ray, which I highly recommend. Yeah, really, really good movie, but definitely don't watch it if you have a faint heart or easily offended. It's very, very twisted. Check it out. Next we have yet another Italian horror movie, the film debut of director Michele Soave, and I think this is probably his best movie. Either, right there with The Church and Cemetery Man. Yeah, it's a bunch of young actors rehearsing for a new musical about a mass murderer, but then an actual psychopath escapes from a nearby institution, and the actors accidentally get locked in the theater overnight, and the maniac shows up and begins offing them one by one. And this awesome piece of blood-soaked cinema. Great Blu-ray which was distributed by Blue Underground, who always do a great job. Yeah, great directing by Michele Soave. Great cast, great characters. Pretty good acting for the most part. Some pretty nasty kills, all done by this maniac wearing an owl mask. Pretty cool. Weird ending, but yeah, pretty brutal. Shocker. It's soon to become a gore-drenched classic. Highly recommend it. If you're a fan of Italian horror and slasher movies, this one, which is also sometimes known as Aquarius, I think you'll find it's pretty unforgettable. I like it a lot. Check it out. Next, we have a really similar movie called Curtains. Yeah, this is a lot like Stage Fright. This is also some young actors who are competing for a role, Audra, I guess, and yeah, they're a group of women. They're gathering for a casting call at a mansion of the director, Stryker, played by the great John Vernon, from Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Dirty Harry and all that. And these women are all dying for a chance to play Audra. Even Stryker's last star, Samantha Sherwood, played by Samantha Egger. They're all determined to get the part until she even committed herself to an asylum. She was not dedicated to the role. But unfortunately, a crazed killer in a hag mask begins murdering them all one by one. Yeah, she's a killer with wearing an old lady mask. Yeah, pretty cool stalk scenes. This one also has a pretty weird ending. I never would have guessed who the killer was, but it's definitely a twist. And yeah, impressive body count and some pretty shocking scenes. Yeah, I definitely recommend this movie, Curtains. It's really good. Like I said, it's very similar to Stage Fright. As for which movie's better, probably Stage Fright, but this one definitely has its moments as well. But it's close. All right, then also I got Don't Go in the Woods Alone. I can't believe I spent money on this piece of crap. This movie sucks. This is one of the worst horror movies I've ever seen. It's just terrible. Obnoxious campers, really bad acting. I thought it'd be a really fun early 80s slasher at a summer camp, but no. It's pretty much sucks. Warning, this motion picture depicts graphic scenes of violence. More like this motion picture will put you to sleep. Yeah, toss this piece of crap in the closest garbage bin you can find because it's not good. I don't recommend it. It's very, very bad. Yeah, don't go in the woods. Not very many redeemable qualities here. This movie's trash. Avoid it like the plague. All right, next we have Death Spa, and this isn't really a slasher movie like you'd think. It actually, it's actually more of a supernatural horror. It takes place at a fitness club. A bunch of health nuts, and they get killed in various gruesome ways involving workout machines and saunas and tanning beds and all that. It turns out a ghostly killer is haunting the place and is responsible for killing all these people. As this evil spirit enacts its bloody revenge on the members of the Death Spa. You don't want to enjoy this. You don't want to join this health center, as you probably won't survive. Pretty good movie, released by Gorgon Video, which the only other movie I have released by them is The Faces of Death VHS. Some good special features too. And Ken Foray is in it as a brief part, of course, from Dawn of the Dead and Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, and Devil's Rejects and all that. Decent movie. I'd say definitely check it out. I'd recommend it. I think it's definitely worth watching. It does there's some scenes that drag on, and it does have a lot of stupid things in it. It's not like the best or anything, but I think it's pretty enjoyable for the most part. Next we have Silent Madness in 3D. Pretty enjoyable slasher flick. Yeah, basically a glitch causes a insane criminal named Howard Johns to accidentally get released from the asylum and spread havoc throughout a campus where he kills these college co-eds, and it's up to one of the institute's doctors to track him down. And the administration of the asylum has actually hired a deadly duo of thugs to silence her for what she's for her mistake, and because they don't want things getting out. Bad press, it's a pretty good movie. You'd think it'd take place at a summer camp from the cover, but no, it's actually a college campus. And this awesome Blu-ray is in 3D. Yeah, Silent Madness in 3D. It comes with the original, the anaglyph 3D with these 3D glasses. It also comes with the digital 3D version, the new way to watch 3D movies, but you have to have a 3D TV to do that. But it comes with a 2D version as well, if that's not your thing. Silent Madness in 3D, pretty fun flick. I really enjoyed it a lot. Hadn't seen it in years, and was really happy to get a copy. And I suggest you check it out. It's pretty good. I dig it. Oh, yeah. All right, next we have another double feature, The Outing and The Godsend. Now, I haven't watched The Godsend yet, so I haven't watched it. I haven't seen it before. I guess it's about an evil child. I'm not really a big fan of evil children unless it's The Omen or Children of the Corn or I guess Demonic Toys or Bloody Birthday. But this one looks pretty good. But I bought this for The Outing, which is a group of friends trapped in a museum and tormented by an evil genie. That's right, you heard me, an evil genie that kind of looks like one of the demons from The Gate. Pretty cool movie. Some pretty good special effects and decent gore. Good characters. Definitely check it out. It was originally known as The Lamp in the UK, but the American version is retitled The Outing. And I don't know if this is the censored American version or not. It doesn't seem like it because it's plenty of blood and nudity, so it didn't seem censored. But maybe the UK version, known as The Lamp, is a little longer. But I don't know. Let me know if you have the details. But definitely check out The Outing. It's pretty good fun 80s horror flick, and definitely have to check out The Godsend too. I'll let you guys know what I think. And last but not least, we have Slaughterhouse. Yeah, Buddy has an axe to grind, a big axe. Some people call this a Texas Chainsaw Massacre ripoff, but I think that it doesn't feel much like that at all. Rick Rosler directed. Pretty much the only similarity to Texas Chainsaw Massacre has a backwoods a murderous backwoods hillbilly, a very large, hulking man who's has limited intelligence, but is a very brutal, very sadistic killer. Yeah, basically, Lester Bacon is being run into financial problems, and the local sheriff and the lawyer are trying to purchase his land and force him off out of his properties. Enlists the help of his hulking, violent son, who's mentally deranged, to dispose of anybody who conspires against him. Yeah, pretty brutal, pretty good gore, and yeah, pretty bloody kills. Yeah, definitely check out Slaughterhouse. It's a lot of fun. I really like this one quite a lot. Yeah, really, really good. All right, guys, well, that's it for all the recent movies I got. Let me know if you got any cool things in the mail lately. As always, thank you for watching my late night spook show here in the Horror and Metal channel. I'm the Hellhound. Till next time, later.